All right, this is Brett Marvick with BP Kitchen Equipment, and we have here a 2019 Bizerba GSP HD W. It is a W because this actually has a weighing platter on top. A little bit more on that later, but it can allow the slicer to do some pretty cool things. Let's talk about the condition first, though. The slicer is in really good condition. There is I think there's virtually nothing wrong with this gauge height besides this little mark right there. Even the corners are in pretty good shape. Normally the corners are where the slicer gets busted up and such as that. But yeah, it's in really good shape. This one also comes with a brand new portion scale platter. This one didn't come with one, so we just bought a new one and replaced it. It is brand new, has not been used. There's some scuffing right there. But overall, this thing's in really good shape. So a little bit on the corner, again, not that much. Right there. Let's see here. Here's the corners over here. Again, no real issue. Over here as well, no real issue. This also comes with a brand new blade cover. This one is it's a 3/4 blade cover. It works just as well as the normal ones do. It just allows more part of the blade to be exposed. But since everything that you're going to be slicing is actually going to be done more or less right there, that's really the only part that truly matters. It also comes with a brand new remnant holder. This guy right here has not been used. The only real cosmetic defect of the slicer, and you can't even really tell, is there's actually a line. It's a line for the LCD that's missing right through there. Let's go into a setting where you can actually see it. There we go. See that little line. But again, it won't actually affect the, let's crank that up a little bit. It won't actually affect the functionality of the slicer. And it's just a very minor cosmetic defect. In addition, all these HDWs, they come with a sharpener. All of our sharpeners have brand new stones in them. This has been used like maybe twice, because you actually have to calibrate the stones, or calibrate the sharpener to the slicer on these ones. There's a manual calibration that's done on these, as well as one that's actually done within these menus. So here in the service menu, I'll just show you real quick. In the maintenance menu, I think is where it's at. No, let's see, it's probably in customer settings menu. No, there it is, indicator. Sharp calibration. I'm not going to run it right now, otherwise it would reset the maintenance that I've done. But it actually calibrates the sharpener to it, so that the proper amount of torque, whenever you go to sharpen this on here, it will automatically go into a sharpening mode. More on that later, but something that's worth mentioning on these slicers is whenever somebody buys them, specifically these HDW models, I actually send them a link that I worked with Bizerba to make. It was done by a Bizerba rep for these machines. Yeah, so just if you purchase these, know that I'll be sending that over to you. So we're going to show some of the modes real quick. So down here are the modes. So right now we're in manual mode. That is automatic. Here we are in a target amount of slices, so 80. There it is, weight. This is the stroke speed, low, medium, high. This is the stroke speed, or stroke length, excuse me, and this is the stroke speed, low, medium, high. For now, we're going to do a low stroke speed, high length, on an amount of slices, manual. Also, because I just plugged this thing in, it's going to want to do a reference run. What that means is it's just the motor underneath that actually moves this carriage back and forth, finding where the beginning and the end is. Now we're good. So this is manual mode. This carriage will not run back and forth unless you push it. So you can see here that the carriage is in fact moving back and forth. One of the cool things about this mode is that just as a normal manual mode would work, you don't need to put it all the way forward or all the way back. But you can do small slices if you're slicing a carrot, for instance. One of the benefits of getting an HDW or an HD slicer and then running it in manual is it's actually assisted. So you can see here that this carriage will move all the way back and then return back to you. It's pretty nice. It just goes to show that right now I'm really not using my arm at all to move it forward and backward. Can help if you have employees that are using these things for a long period during the day. Just going to help their shoulder fatigue. But the real reason that you would actually purchase one of these slicers is for this mode. This is automatic. So we're going to run automatic right now. Here we go. There we go. So as you see, you can set whatever it is you're wanting to slice on top and walk away, and the machine will do the work for you. It's pretty nice. There we go. Let's go over the stroke lengths real quick. So right now we're on the longest stroke length. Here's a good view for this. So I'm going to put it to the shortest length right now. The reason why you would want to change the stroke lengths is, say you're cutting like carrots before, you don't actually need this to run all the way back. You only need a small portion of that. So you put the short stroke length so that the machine isn't running all the way back and forth. Now let's say you're running something larger, and it takes up the full carriage, right? You're going to need that long length. Then medium is just somewhere right in the middle. The speed is where it gets interesting. I'm going to put this all the way up, but because this is on a Lazy Susan, let's get a little wild here. The speed is just what it is. You can just crank up the speed if you're trying to just get the job done faster. The speed also helps because some things will need to be cut slower, some will need to be cut faster, just depending on whatever it is that you're cutting. So in case you didn't notice, we were on the target amount speed. So currently this machine tells me that I actually just cut 50 slices. If I go to reset this, it's going to go back to 0 and start all over again. So every time it runs back, that's 1. One of the benefits to it, let's say you want to do a target amount of 10, right? It's going to start at 0. And when this reaches 10 slices all the way back and forth, it's actually going to automatically shut off all on its own. So we're at 6, 7, 8, 9, and now 10. And you'll see that it automatically shuts off. So these are preset amounts you can set. We just ran 10. You can run 30, 50, 80, infinite. So you wanted to change this to 100. You can do that. Yeah, it's pretty customizable. So you wanted this to be 2 slices. You can do that. Let's put these back to 50 though, and 100, or this is actually at 80, excuse me. So that's the target amount of slices. Let's check out the weight setting. This is cool. This is my favorite, specifically the infinite. But let's just check on this real quick. So this is the current scale. So you'll see that, let's tear that. You'll see that currently this reads as 0 pounds. Say you wanted to cut a ½ pound. That's not actually an option on here. So let's just set it 500. So now, if I turn this on, it's going to want to cut until we reach 5 pounds. For example, put this on. It's going to jump all the way to 3.5 or 1.3, and it'll automatically shut off. It's pretty straightforward. You can also change this to be whatever it is that you want. Let's see, this is probably at, I'll just leave it at 0.5. What I personally really like is the infinite setting. That does not mean this slicer will cut infinitely. It means that it's going to cut until no more weight is put on top of the platter. So let me show you how that works. So it's going to start cutting, add a bit of weight to it. Now let's let it be. After an amount of time, I think it's like 3 or 4 cuts, this will actually automatically shut off on its own, as you can see. I really like that setting for this benefit. If you're having your guys and you're wanting to slice, let's say it's a huge amount of turkey or ham, right? And it's going to take them half the day. They can just put this thing on top, They can set it to infinite and they can walk away. And whenever that turkey is all sliced and all on here, the machine's gonna automatically shut off. I like that because these slicers actually need to be, well, Bizerba wants you to service them after, I think it's 5,000 slicers or 50,000 slices, something like that. So basically this mode, right in here, the infinite amount of weight, it'll actually save you money because you'll be saving on service, because Bizerba wants you to do it after a certain amount of slices. It makes sense to me. I mean, there are things under here that need to be, you know, kept lubricated. Over time, that lubrication will wear off as you continue to run this carriage back and forth. Yeah, I mean, it certainly makes sense, but yeah, I really like that mode for that reason. So yeah, let me back up a bit. So that's a little bit about the HDW model. They're pretty fancy. I like them a lot. They're my favorite model for me. Whoops, there we go. But why would you buy from BB Kitchen Equipment versus other people? There are some others that have these slicers listed, and they're usually a little bit cheaper than us, so why not buy it from them? The main reason, in my opinion, is that we actually service these machines before we ship them to you. Nothing that I sell is just tested or wiped down. It is guaranteed to work. It has been serviced as it would be from Bizerba. I warranty all my products for 120 days. And I really just want to take care of my customers. I want to make sure that you want to leave me a 5-star review. I want to make sure that you don't need to, you know, call some service guy to come out and service your machines right after you buy it. I want to leave satisfied customers. In terms of the slicers, I break everything down in 2 categories, mechanical and electrical. For mechanical, I make sure that all the mechanical parts are working. Right behind here is a grooved cam. That often breaks during shipment. I replace it if it is. I'll lubricate it after I'm finished. Everything on our machines is lubricated with Bizerba OEM grease or oil. I make sure that everything's properly working. Let's go underneath here. Can't really tell, but there's a bunch of safety mechanisms underneath here. I make sure that everything's properly calibrated, lubricated. I replace anything if need be. We'll actually be doing a video showing us working on slicers here shortly. But we really do just service our equipment before we sell it. We want to sell you a high functioning product, and we stand behind what it is that we do. One of the other benefits of buying from us is I make sure that it is as safe as it would be from Bizerba. One of Bizerba's safety mechanisms, all slicers, you're able to pivot the carriage back so that you or your guys can come in here and clean your slicer at the end of the day. The way that Bizerba has it set up is that this blade is exposed right now. It can cut. Whenever that blade is exposed, the carriage will not rotate back. Bizerba has it set up for a safety reason. We make sure that the safety mechanisms are calibrated so that they do in fact work. Whenever the blade is recessed behind this gauge plate, you will be able to pull the carriage back and just clean up your slicer. The most important benefit from buying from us, in my opinion, is the safety mechanisms. I make sure that this blade is recessed behind the gauge plate as it should. What that means is that whenever this thing is at 0, you cannot get cut. Often whenever we get slicers, the bottom of this blade may be slightly underneath this. The top often is not. That means that if you were to come in here and actually move your hand, the blade is on. The guy was, coming in here to actually clean everything up. They would actually just cut themselves. We make sure that Bizerba's safety standards are upheld. I also come in here and I calibrate these switches. So you'll see here that the moment that this goes to 0, the moment the blade starts to be exposed, this flashes red, even if the blade isn't running. And whenever the knob is green, that means that this is safe to access. And the blade is running and this is solid red, etc. One of the last things that I'll talk about is we sharpen all the blades. Well, first of all, I should mention that we actually inspect the blades for any nicks or any cuts. I make sure that we're not going to ship you something that, you know, has like a nick in the blade or something like that. We actually often replace the blades because some of them do have nicks, and they cost, you know, $300 to $400 to replace. I make sure that all these blades are good. They have no nicks, and they also have at least 66% of their lifespan left. So these blades come with a millimeter gap. You can see that right there, between the blade guard ring and the blade. And then Bizerba recommends you replace it when that gap increases to 6 millimeters. So that's 5 working millimeters. I make sure that at least 66% of that 5 millimeters is still there. Meaning that if you get a blade, even if it's not brand new, you won't need to replace it anytime soon. In this case, we actually match like with like. So because this is 2019 in great condition, this has a blade that's honestly barely been used. I think this is at 1.5 millimeters. So it has like almost all of its life left. But oh, actually, yeah. Oops. Let's put that to manual. I also make sure that these blades are very sharp, so when they come to you, you don't need to sharpen them. You can just pull them right out of the box and get to work. Make sure that they're sharp enough to cut a sheet of paper. No problem. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Oh, one more thing I'll mention. We started putting a coating on all of the anodized aluminum on this in order to resist the watermarks. Some of these slicers, mainly right here, and then right in here and down here, where all the juices drip. The anodized aluminum will slowly soak up water over time. We put the spray just honestly on everything, just to make sure that this aluminum will resist as much water markings as possible. It also looks really good whenever it comes to you. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to just talk to you about our products, go over anything, talk to you about our warranty or what it is that we do. And yeah, my name is Brad Marv for BP Kitchen Equipment. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a good day.